Good afternoon, folks, and welcome to the Pervasive Media Studio Lunchtime Talk. These talks are live every Friday at 1 p.m., both here in the building and live online. Hello, online. Nihon no minasama yokoso konbanwa. That is about as much Japanese as I speak. So whether you're in Bristol or you're far away, you can join in the conversation. My name is Martin O'Leary. I am the studio community lead here at the Pervasive Media Studio. I'm a white man in my 40s, long hair and a beard, wearing a stylish red jumper today. Every Friday, we throw open the doors of the Pervasive Media Studio for Open Studio Friday, where we offer you the chance to spend some time in our space by hot desking alongside our residents and staff from 10 a.m. to 5 p.m. Especially big welcome to those of you who are new to the studio, for whom this may be the first time you're engaging with us. Can anyone who's new to the studio put their hand up? Okay, got a few. Welcome. This bit's for you and all of you online. What is the Pervasive Media Studio? We're a diverse and collaborative community exploring creativity and technology, everything from comedy to coding and product development to performance art. And we're a partnership between Watershed, the University of the West of England, and the University of Bristol, and we're funded by Arts Council England. We offer studio space, offering desks, meeting rooms, events and opportunities, all for free to our residents as part of a spirit of generosity and mutual exchange. And most of all, we're a space for people to take risks with embryonic ideas and to make some time for collaboration. So a few notes before we start. Please do feel free to move around, make a cup of tea in the kitchen back there, grab a glass of water. Please don't use the microwave. We have a quiet space just to my left and to your right, just through the wall here. If you need to take a break at any point, you can pop in there. It's pretty well soundproofed. There are fire exits at either end of the studio. We're not expecting a fire alarm today. If you hear one, that's probably real. The studio team will direct you, but in any event, the fire exits are at the other side of the studio. Again, my left, your right. At either end, they're clearly marked. And there are accessible toilets and baby change in the corridor over there next to the kitchen. So there'll be a Q&A at the end of the talk. Those of you who are watching online, you can pop your questions into the YouTube chat. Lawatim will be your voice in the room today. Those of you who are in the building, raise your hand and we'll send a microphone around so that our speakers can hear you. You can get news on all of our future talks by going to watershed.co.uk/studio, at PM Studio UK on Twitter, at Pervasive Media Studio, mastodon.social on Mastodon, and at Pervasive Media Studio on Instagram. All right, so our speaker for today is not here in the room with me. Watershed are very proud to be partnering with Knowledge Capital, an organization in Osaka, Japan, where business people, researchers, creators, and the community come together for the creation and interchange of ideas. Our speaker is one of those creators and researchers. Atsuhiko Yasuda is the president of XOOMS Corporation, and since 2006, he has been dedicated to creating innovative content that merges technology with visuals. And to introduce Yasuda-san and to talk more about Knowledge Capital and the work that they do, I'd really like to welcome Keisuke Inami, who is the chief assistant to the general producer of the Knowledge Capital Association. So please join me in giving a very warm welcome to Keisuke and Atsuhiko.
Well, thank you very, very much for the introduction, Martin, and all the Watershed and Pervasive Media Studio team. My name is Keisuke Inami. I'm working as a Chief Assistant to General Producer of Knowledge Capital Association. Before we start the talk with a very exciting talk from Mr. Atsuhiko Yasuda, I will quickly introduce about Knowledge Capital. So we're based in Osaka, and inside Osaka, if you take a look at this map, you will see we are located in the very, very central area of Osaka, where we can find the Japan Railway Osaka Station and several stations connected to this area, and which has a daily ridership of about 2.5 million passengers. So connected to this station terminal, we have about 24 hectares of the designated redevelopment project sites, which is divided to two phases. The first phase, Groundfront Osaka, and the second phase, Ground Green Osaka. Knowledge Capital is located in the first phase, Groundfront Osaka, and it was developed by these private corporations, jointly invested and also operated. So there's no public funding involved in this project. So this picture shows the entire premises of Groundfront Osaka. And Knowledge Capital has 88,200 square meters of floor surface, which is the majority of the Groundfront Osaka. As a core facility, as a new field for creating new values through the exchange of various knowledge. So physically, we occupy the space of this amount. So as I said, Knowledge Capital is a core facility of the first phase redevelopment project of the Umekita area. Opened its door in 2013, almost 11 years ago, as a field for creating new values. So our concept is the fusion of technology with the human creativity and creating the new values such as products and services, human resources, companies and projects and communities. So in the past, at least in Japan, like a technology push, like innovation is only led by the technology achievement, but we consider or we embrace the idea of combining technology with the human creativity, such as imagination, creativity, arts, design, emotion. So more like a user-oriented minds. So our vision is to generate knowledge innovation. Again, innovation not only led by the technology push, but also something we can impact the society through the various knowledge exchange. So the missions of Knowledge Capitals are 4 layers: human resources development, international exchange, cultural transmission, and new industry creation. So in order to achieve these concepts and missions and visions, we have these like a one-stop ecosystem inside the building of 8,200 square meters. So which has 4 phases, like gathering, interacting, creating, and exhibiting. So each phase organically is connected, and we operate these facilities day in, day out, as well as facilitating communications amongst different companies, universities, researchers, and research institutions, as well as the creators. So mainly we have like for interaction, we have the salon, which is on the membership base. Currently, we have about 1,800 people registered for this salon, and day in, day out, they come in this place and start working and start meeting people and start new projects and collaboration. Downstairs, we have the lab as a showcase for companies, universities, and also the creators and startups. The exhibition of the prototypes, technical samples. Actually, this space is absolutely open to the public, so the public can enjoy and experience the latest technical samples and service samples, and then they can contribute to the next development of such projects by giving the feedback. So we organize many different workshops and seminars, again, interaction with the end users to collect the feedback in the space. So in 2020, we opened the new facility named SpringX, which is a base for practical learning and community building for entrepreneurs and new creators to start the projects and develop the networking. So usually this space is open as a cafe, but in the evenings, we organize and host different series of courses. Mainly the target audience is like a general public, not necessarily the professionals, but also the students, and also younger generations such as secondary school, high school, and also primary school pupils. We have had this thematical approach each year, but we have a diverse range of series as a topics, and not only just science and technology or businesses, but also creativity, culture, history, philosophy. So such as liberal arts are very much important to cover in this SpringX, not only just the technical know-how and how-to things. So the last fiscal year, we had the thematic approach of the food and agriculture, but this year we will have this space. So speaking of the international aspect, we have signed the MOU with 19 international organizations, and obviously amongst one of them is Watershed. So we had the privilege and honor to visit Watershed last year in June. And we signed the MOU on the online MOU signing ceremony last year in December. So practically, this is the first time we kind of jointly participate in this program, the scheme of the lunchtime talks. We have been conducting lots of discussions, and we're planning a new implementation of the collaboration. We're pretty much looking forward to developing close collaboration with Watershed and the creative communities in Bristol. So here ends my presentation, and today we have a guest from Knowledge Capital community, who is also the participant of the lab as a XOOMS lab, and also he has another hat as a Knowledge Capital Association as the lab researcher. So I'm really happy to introduce him because he's leading a lot of very pioneering projects in Japan, and he has a very creative mind. So Yasuda-san, the floor is yours.
Thank you. Watershed. I am Atsuhiko Yasuda of XOOMS, and I'm also working as a researcher at Knowledge Capital, as Justin Nami-san talked to you. I would like to thank Watershed for giving me this opportunity to talk with you. I heard that Watershed has many creators. As a creator myself, I would be happy if there's anything helpful to you in what I'm going to talk today. First, let me tell you about myself. I studied aeronautical engineering at the university and graduate school, and after graduation, I worked for about 15 years as an engineer in a Japanese company called IHI, where I was mainly involved in the development of jet engines. I never been to Bristol, your city, but I have known the name of your city for a long time because it is home to one of the world's leading jet engine manufacturers, Rolls-Royce, which I think was originally called Bristol Aero Engines. So to me, Bristol was one of the centers of the jet engine manufacturing in the world, and it is a city that I want to visit as a former aerospace engineer. Now, I understand that Watershed, you are working on many experimental projects, and I believe that you are in the perfect place for exactly that purpose. Okay, now please let me share my presentation. Okay, hold on a second. All right, can you see my presentation? Okay. All right. I myself was involved in a joint development project with General Electric in the United States. This is a photo in my engineering days. This picture was taken in a test facility in Ohio in the United States, just after bird ingestion test. It was 20 years ago, and I was much younger at that time. Right. Although I enjoyed my work as an engineer, but on the other hand, I found that the work of engineers was not well known, was not well understood by the general public. I also felt that engineers themselves were not very eager to let others know what they were doing. I think this is especially true in Japan. So I came to want to make people more aware of the technology that is currently being developed. I wanted to bridge the gap between technology and society. That is why I created XOOMS. So in general, technology, especially cutting-edge technology, is difficult for people to grasp. In order to communicate something that people find difficult, I think a certain fun factor is necessary. Right? So therefore, we started by creating something that everyone can enjoy. we always want to create something that is fun for people and fun for us, creators. We would also like to extract the essence of fun gained through that process of creating and use it to create another new things, such as scientific research, technological development, and industrial activities. In a slightly cooler world, this could be called a fusion of art and technology. This may also overlap with Watershed's playable city concept. So today I would like to share with you some examples of such fun pieces we have created and some practical solutions we have developed from them. The first one I would like to talk about is mixed reality MR game. Okay. Let me share the video. This is the MR game called Virtual Drone. The first version was created in the spring of 2016 and demonstrated here at Knowledge Capital. Since then, we have been improving it and have demonstrated it in various places, such as Maker Faire Tokyo and South by Southwest in Austin, USA. The virtual drone uses a technology called MR, mixed reality, which merges the real and the virtual. A video camera attached to the VR headset captures the surrounding environment, and on top of the video, a drone made by computer graphics is synthesized in real time. This gives the user the experience of flying a drone right here. MR is also promising technology from a practical standpoint. We recently developed the MR controller for remote robots based on this technology. This is a video of the experiment. Please forgive me the misspelling of the controller. This MR application is being developed in collaboration with iPresence, located in Knowledge Capital and in UK, a company developing remote communication robots. The user wears a VR headset and uses hand controllers to control a robot in a remote location and communicate with the person there. This video footage was taken during the experiment, so the robot is in the same place as the user, but in reality, the robot is in a remote location. In the virtual drone, I told you before, the drone was created with computer graphics. But in this case, the robot case, the robot is a real one. However, the method of operating through MR is the same. So we were able to use the know-how gained from the virtual drone for the robot operation, such as the user interface easy for them to understand, and the screen design that reduces VR sickness, so-called VR sickness, and so on. In VR, we can operate in the 3D world in which we live in every day. Namely, major advantage of VR is that it allows more intuitive operation compared to other devices like PCs or smartphones. I believe that this advantage can be utilized in the operation of various machines and devices other than robots. The next item I would like to introduce is art performance using VR. This is called Fuyusho, VR calligraphy performance, developed in collaboration with Japanese traditional calligrapher, Ms. Gyokuran Fujita-san. Right? Fuyusho means floating calligraphy. It is an art performance that combines traditional Japanese calligraphy and virtual reality. She wears a VR headset and is writing letters in the air in a virtual world. And her view is projected in real time onto a screen in the background, as you see. Although not shown in the video, a band is playing the live music next to the screen, taking advantage of the improvisational nature of calligraphy, music, and VR. We have created a new art form that combines video and sound. This VR calligraphy Fuyusho has been demonstrated in several places so far, including at Kyocera Dome Baseball Stadium in Osaka in 2022 as part of the Kansai Collection Fashion Show. We have also held events where people can experience this VR calligraphy. This is a workshop fest at Knowledge Capital last spring. Children created their own VR calligraphy in the Fuyusho. We then made a virtual photo shoot with their artwork. Children were very pleased with the experience. I think VR is a content of experience. It is important to have people actually experience it. There are many things that cannot be understood only by theory. Such findings are useful for improvement and the next development. An example of industrial application of this VR is this. Is this. The VR trainer for boiler maintenance, which allows mechanics to learn a series of tasks for operating a steam boiler in VR. So you can hear some Japanese narration. That is the explanation what the mechanics should do next. Even without a real boiler, technicians can learn boiler operation anytime, anywhere, thus increasing training effectiveness and reducing costs. In addition, even if the boiler is operated incorrectly in VR, it will not break or explode. So even beginners can learn safely. So training is one of promising fields of VR application. I would like to develop applications that can take advantage of those VR benefits. So I'd like to move on to the next technology, which is image recognition. So as Inami-san explained, on the second floor of Knowledge Capital, there is an exhibition space called The Lab. There you can experience some of what we have developed so far. This is one of them, a digital picture book that we developed together with a picture book author and many staff in Knowledge Capital. Okay, let's move on to the video. When the user turns a page of the picture book, an animation is projected over the table according to the page he or she is viewing. The printed picture, the animation, and audio narration are all synchronized. The narration is currently available in 8 languages: English, German, French, Chinese, Thai, Polish, Korean, and Japanese, which can be switched by moving the pad on the table. You can also choose the background image, the word of the story, and the name of the animals that appear in the book change depending on the word you choose. This digital picture book was This digital picture book uses image recognition technology. An infrared camera placed above recognizes the printed images, identifies the page the user is viewing, and projects an animation accordingly. This image recognition technology has a variety of applications. In fact, it is widely used in industry. Here is an example of combining image recognition technology with current machine learning. We have developed an application that detects whether a car is parked at each space in the parking lot. This application is currently in operation in a parking lot in central Tokyo. The parking status obtained from the image recognition is displayed on a signage display at the entrance of the parking lot to inform drivers of the locations of the available parking spaces. Using the image recognition, we have also developed an application to measure the flight attitude of drones from the ground. Image recognition technology is improving in both accuracy and scope of application with the progress of AI technology. It is certainly one of the core technologies for our content creation and application development. So what we'd like to introduce next is 3D scanning technology. There is a famous temple in Kyoto called Ninnaji Temple. This is the VR content featuring the Buddhist statues of Ninnaji. In the majestic VR space, you can watch several Buddhist statues at the Ninnaji Temple from a distance close enough to reach them. Many of these Buddhist statues are not usually open to the public. So being able to see them close is a very valuable experience. So I regret that I can only show you a 2D captured video this time, and I can't convey the realism that VR offers. The technology used to reproduce the Buddhist statues at the Ninnaji Temple as if they were real is a 3D scanning technique called photogrammetry. The Ninnaji Temple project was managed entirely by Kyoto University, and our another partner, Sogo Giken Corporation in Osaka, is in charge of 3D scanning. This time we use the photogrammetry to scan the Buddhist statues, as I said. The photogrammetry is a technology that calculates 3D shapes from a large number of photographs. For example, these pictures were ones reproduced from photos taken from the air by a drone. And more recently, we are working on another high-precision 3D scanning method called 3D Gaussian splatting. This is a 3D viewer that we are developing in collaboration with XAgent and another partner company in the knowledge capital. As you can see, machinery such as pumps for ships are rendered in a very detailed and accurate 3D. The principle of reconstructing a 3D shape from a large number of photographs is the same as the photogrammetry, but instead of polygonizing the 3D object, 3DGS stores the optical information and renders it directly onto 2D picture without polygonizing. Thanks to advances in machine learning algorithms, It is now possible to reconstruct 3D environments almost in real time. This technology has applications in many different areas of industry too, and we are currently working on several projects. So the next one I would like to introduce is one that takes advantage of human illusion, human optical illusion. This is an exhibit called Handmade Virtual World, which we first created for the Maker Faire Tokyo in 2020. So several cardboard panels with line drawings are placed on the floor. At the first glance, these panels appear to be placed randomly, but when viewed from a certain location and angle, they appear to be a single picture. Visitors can take a photo as if they have entered the world of cartoon. It is a kind of trick art. As you remember, due to the COVID-19 pandemic, touching something was discouraged at that time. Equipment like VR headsets, touch panels, mouse and keyboard have to be avoided to use. So we decided to create something that could be enjoyed without touching. That is handmade virtual world. Here is a practical application of the trick art. You can see something that looks like a white blocks floating on the floor in front of you in this picture. Actually, these blocks are just pictures drawn on the floor. They are designed to give the illusion of floating white blocks when viewed from a certain location. So namely, this is a trick art sign. Some of you may have seen something similar before. We used VR virtual reality to design this trick art. We first designed several candidate road signs, then placed them in virtual reality, and drove a car in there to see how they would look like. This video shows the trial and error processes in virtual reality. VR is a wonderful tool that allows us to simulate how we feel as many times as we want without having to build actual thing. This could save cost and time a lot. I think VR should be an important tool for human-centered design. So I would like to summarize my story. So today I have presented examples of our creative activities and our approach. Namely, we first create content that people can enjoy, have people experience it, and then use the technology and know-how gained there to develop another practical applications. That is our approach. You can actually experience some of the examples at the XOOMS lab booth in the Knowledge Capital, the lab. If you have a chance to come to Osaka, please stop by. That concludes my presentation. Thank you very much for your attention.
Thank you both very much. I think we have plenty of time for questions. If anyone has a question, please stick your hand up. Loughton is there with a microphone. Anyone want to go first? I can kick off with a question. How much do you feel obviously some of your work is very artistic and some of your work is very practical and industrial, and how much do you feel those two learn from each other?
Learn from each other?
Yeah.
どういうこと？アートとインダストリーってことですかね。
そうですね。どれぐらい、お互い関係性があって、どれぐらい、影響し合ってるかっていう話。
Yeah, I try to combine those two things as much as possible. Because I was former engineer, I like engineering work. But but when I pursue the engineering aspect of something I created, I found it's not enough. The things should have some fun aspect anytime. So I just trying to combine them, but it's not enough now. If you have any good idea to combine those two things, please let me know. I appreciate it.
Any other questions from the room? Everyone's being very quiet. Oh, Rachel.
Yeah, I was just wondering where you get the funding for your projects. Do you get outside commissions or are they self-funded? How does that side of things work?
Okay. As for the industrial application, those things are contracted with some maker companies, including IHI, my former company. Right? But before that, the artistic things, almost artistic things are funded by myself. Right? It's a kind of experiment for me to make industrial application. So because I'm not an artist, so if I am an artist, I can be funded, but so far it's not.
Thank you.
Any other questions
Thank you.
from the room? Oh, Tim, at the back.
Hello. You mentioned that a large part of the operation is to do with members of the public being involved and giving feedback on the work that you kind of create. And I was wondering if that is facilitated in any way or what that actually looks like on the ground, because it sounded very interesting.
Feedback? どんなフィードバックが面白かったことね。
So I think in this part, I can also answer from the knowledge capital's perspective, because Zoom's lab is obviously having a booth inside the lab where we can have an exhibition open to the public and we collect the feedback. So each time when Yasuda-san introduces a new experimental thing in the lab, we always tend to try to learn as much as possible to deliver the essence of fun and experimental thing to the audience. And at the same time, we ask Yasuda-san to elaborate more about what kind of feedback is needed for the next development of the project or the work. So our members of staff called communicators are usually encouraging the visitors of the lab to experience and to learn and to dive into the world that Yasuda-san created and try to collect very casual and candid feedback for the next development of the project.
Anyone else got a question? Yes, one front here. Yeah, it's on.
Do you think we will all have our own VR headsets soon, like we have our own phones?
I hope so. I hope so. Yeah, but actually the VR headset is still ongoing technology, I think, right? I think in future, we don't need any VR headset. And actually, some researchers in university are working on the future 3D display. And something is in the lab, right, Nami-san?
Yes.
It's currently being developed.
Yes, one of the a startup spun up from university lab, or I can say it's like a startup based on the technology developed at the university. They are like a 3D display with the naked eye, so you don't have to wear the 3D glasses, etc. But I think the question is about VR headset. So it's like a form of communication, form of experience, form of interaction. I think Mr. Yasuda tries to say it's still under development, and it is still pretty much expensive for all of us to get one of those. So, but it's quite potential, and Mr. Yasuda hopes to hopes to prevail widely the public. If so, I think Yasuda-san can create more like dynamic businesses and activities along.
Thank you.
Anyone else for a question? I mean, I will ask, what kind of people in Japan are the audience for this kind of work? I know, not everyone has a VR headset, but a lot of people are quite interested and excited. So who is it that's coming to see these works when you put them on display?
誰がってこと？
そうですね。来場者とかオーディエンスはどういう人がいるでしょうか？
Yeah, as for the VR headset, I try to hold some events in Knowledge Capital every 2 months or so, and a lot of people are coming here, and some feedbacks are very good, and especially the younger people are enjoying the VR headset, including kids, like 10 years old or something, have very good experience and have good opinions about the VR headset. It's very promising for me.
Yeah, just to back up some of the comments that Yasuda-san said. I mean, the lab opens every day, except the New Year's Day, and it opens from 10 a.m. until 9 p.m. And usually the door is always open to anybody who wants to come in and experience things such as VR or other technologies, etc. And the lab is frequently visited by on weekdays by business people or students such as junior high and high school students on school trip excursions, and on weekends we have more people coming in, like a family or group of friends, even younger generations. And as Yasuda-san said, he sometimes host events or like an open lab for Yasuda-san. Like he sits in the middle of the studio and he shows the process of creating VR experience, etc., and let people in and let people experience such process itself and have a dialogue with them, which is a great attempt to capture the needs and fresh reaction from the public, which I believe contributes to the next development of Yasuda-san's projects.
Thank you. Any other questions from the room? Talia.
Thank you for such an interesting talk. I heard you said that VR can be an important tool for human-centered design. Could you give other examples of potentialities that you have discovered? I mean, we don't have a lot of time and probably there's a lot, but if you briefly could mention some things. And I was very interested in how you were saying about the intuitive element of VR as well. Thank you.
Okay, thank you for the question. Okay, As I said in my presentation, I showed some trick art example. I think that is a good example for this human-centered design, because the trick art, the human illusion or optical illusion, is not calculated in theory. It's something we have to feel. So, but computer simulation, usual computer simulation cannot simulate how we feel. Only VR, we can check how the people feel, or how can I say, touch something or hear. Everything is combined in one sense, one human sense. So VR is a very good tool, but only tool that can simulate human sensitivity, I think. Am I answering your question?
Yes. Saleh says
Thank
yes.
you. Thank you very much. For example, the user interface is another example, I think. User interface is a kind of an experience. So if I can make a real thing, I think it's the best. But it needs some cost and time. But in the VR, we can simulate such interface aspect without taking any cost or time. I think that's a good thing for VR.
Yeah, cool. Do you ever take on internships or collaborate with artists from different backgrounds?
Yes. So actually, we are collaborating a lot of people, including artists. So as I said, VR calligraphy, that is a collaboration work with Japanese traditional artist, calligraphy artist. And the digital picture book is created with picture book author, Mitsuoka-san. She's an artist. So yeah, we have a lot of collaboration in Knowledge Capital. And that is what Inami-san want me to do, right?
Yeah, I think the Zoomers and Yasuda-san is a star in Knowledge Capital in terms of the numbers of collaboration. It works with the people from various backgrounds. So congratulations.
I was wondering if you work with older people at all. Obviously, like Japan has a aging society, and so does the UK. And I wondered how, your engineering or technology or art can reach different groups that might not come to your exhibition space.
高齢化ってこと？エイジング。
高齢者とか、まあ、異なる世代の方々をどういうふうに巻き込んでいくかっていう。
ちょっと稲見さん答え。
So actually, like as for Knowledge Capital, we target all age groups. So not only just the younger generation, but quite a few elderly generation come with the family, and they just stop by at the lab while they're going on shopping, etc. Since we are directly connected to the shopping mall area as a graduate of Osaka, and if we organize a seminar such as in Spring X Chogako series, as like a series of lectures, in fact, quite a lot of elderly people participate in such programs. So what we encourage is not only just to participate in one single program and try to encourage them to continue the journey and experience the other parts of Knowledge Capital, including the lab. And so if you have never tried VR before, this is the place you should go and have a look and just try So this sort of interaction is always, made like any sort of facilities inside knowledge capital, not solely in one place or the other. So this is one of the potential we can work strongly with the knowledge capital participants, such as XOOMS, trying to connect as diverse people as possible.
And before we finish up, well, I just wanted to ask one last one. What's the next new and exciting thing you're working on? What's cool? What's coming next?
Yeah.
What's next?
I also want to hear.
Yeah, I'm struggling now. I'm struggling now to find something new. But yeah, seriously, I'm very interested in AI, artificial intelligence technology, and I'm trying to make some movies using the AI right now. And also, I'm very interested in 3D scanning technology. I showed some example of the 3D Gaussian splatting. It's a very high precision 3D scanning technology, and I think it would change some industrial application. I'm very eager to pursue it. Right? But if you know, please let me know.
Sorry. Yes. I can show you afterwards. Great. All right. Well, please join. Oh, sorry. We've got one more question left.
What kind of reaction have you had to your work from academics, lecturers, and students? And is there any difference to how they react to some of the technologies that you've been presenting? Particularly kind of in the engineering field.
ごめん、ちょっと言い直した。なんて言った？
例えばアカデミックレクチャーの中で、学生とか異なる多分反応があると思うんですけど、その中でちょっと印象的なものとか、どういう違いがあったとかっていうのがあれば教えてください。
The feedback from the people.
The feedback.
Yeah, I think so. So what I'm interested in right now, again, is artificial intelligence. I'm collecting some feedback about the AI artwork from the general public. So some guys are very much like the AI movies, but some don't. I'd like to know what the difference, how they feel about the artificial intelligence artworks. So it's a difficult question, and it's a good question, but yeah, that's what I'm interested in right now.
So the visitors of the lab are not necessarily acknowledged with the very expert knowledge of engineering, etc. So sometimes they say something really casually, but it gives a spark of inspiration to the participants, such as Yasuda-san, and it could be a good hint. So traditionally, the development of technology and such contents is cloistered into some laboratories or etc. But what we are trying is just to open it to the public and try to engage people and encourage people to join in the process of creation.
Join me in saying thank you to Keisuke and Atsuhiko. All right, before you go, if you do want to stick around in Hot Desk today or find out more about what we do, then please come find one of the studio team and we'd be happy to help. Studio team, give us a wave. Here we are. If you're watching online, drop us a line on studio@watershed.co.uk with any questions. Thank you all for being here today. Mite itadaki arigatou gozaimasu, and we'll see you all again next time.